Well guys, it looks like Rex is officially past his kids being born in the field and not doing anything terrible. Whether he knew they were being born or not, we do not know. But we do know that they were born on his watch in the pen because Mom had ligaments this morning before I left to go to this craft show. Showed no signs at all. And to boot, Rex has had access to a handful of kids for 24 hours and he's done great. He hasn't chased them. He had one little incident when they first came out that he was like, toys. But after like a few of his normal commands of no, mine, leave it, he left them alone. And I'm looking at them right now. Nobody looks like they've been mauled and when I say that they don't look like they've been mauled, I don't see any spittle marks on them. When dogs play with animals, they leave spittle on them because like they usually play with their mouths. They mouth a lot. And I'm looking at them and nobody looks like they've been mouthed at all, which is a good sign. So I'm rolling with that win and we're just gonna stand on it today. But let's go meet Bess's new kids. Bess, you got him right here by the door so I can get a good look. Oh, this is a buck. And then this sweet little thing underneath of her is a doe. You did good. You did good. You giving her a cleaning. Are you cleaning her up? I've already seen you nurse, so we know you're good and done. And guys, they're dry. They're pretty much all the way dry. So she had triplets. Where is the third? Well, the third was kind of curled up. He's pretty much dry, but it is not the warmest of days. It's the high is like 56. She had the good sense to go on the other side and have these babies indoors, but are you kickstanding? And so this one is 6 days overdue and just is like not releasing the hostages anytime soon. And it just seemed like he was like a little cold. I brought him over here, put him under the heat lamp. He's nice and responsive, but I will say that like his mouth is cold. And usually like, cause I just did a quick, like, do you have a suckle reflex? Are you ready for me to help you nurse? And his mouth was a little cold. He suckled for like a second and just kind of acted like he was really tired. So I'm guessing he's cold. So I just grabbed the heated blanket I keep out here, took him into my bedroom, set him up a little heating suite to just bring his temperature up to make sure he's at a safe temperature to nurse for Mom. And I guarantee like when he is warm, he's gonna be a brand new kid. He was a little lethargic, and when they warm up, usually they come right to life. So what we've got going on right now, it's got Miss Bess, who I think I'm gonna have to push calories on because everybody has come out looking like a beast after kidding. Even my girls with quads and triplets, she's had triplets and she just looks a little on the thin side. I just want to let you guys know, like, Bess had her babies. Rex has hit 2 milestones. He's had access to kids for 24 hours and had no mistakes. And he's experienced his first in-field kidding and didn't do anything crazy. So I'm ecstatic because I've got good mommies who are doing what they should be doing. So I'm in a good place right now. A good place. Now, if this heifer would just have her babies, if Mo would just release them, be in good shape. There they are. It only took him about 10 minutes being warmed up. And he's out here, he's standing, he's bumping, he's doing all the things babies should do. I just dipped their cords. And Bess just looks like a proud mama. Bess, are you proud? Are you proud, mama? You smell the iodine on them. Don't you lick that off. You leave it alone. Ah, you got some in your mouth, huh? Didn't taste good. Leave it alone. Sweet girl. Y'all, no one wants me to be here for their birth apparently today. So right before we were getting ready to leave, so earlier, Bess had her babies out basically in the barn. And we had a birthday dinner for myself with my in-laws and my sister-in-law who also has an April birthday. So I come home and she had quads all by herself. Oh my gosh, look at all those babies. Hey, sweet things. Hello, sweet things. 2 bucks and 2 does. Hello. Okay, Mo had her babies this morning. I didn't film it. Mostly because I was coming in towards the tail end. And when I came in, she just spit out the third one, which is this little sweet thing underneath of there, who's trying to get her feet under her. Guys, when I came in here this morning, I thought she was a bag of placenta. I thought she was afterbirth. She was so goopy and so dark. And went in there, was like, oh my God, it's a kid. And she was not responsive at all. She was kind of like Squeaks. She was super slick, like no breathing, no eye, touched her eye, nothing there. So I kind of just gave her a hard pat on the rib cage, because sometimes that's just enough to kickstart them to, or like their heart to go. And she gasped. So we ripped her up, and we were actually out here in the aisleway. I've got my aspirator over there, and I had I can't remember. I never remember what this is, but it helps so much. Anybody that needs this, yeah, it's wonderful. It is basically like a big aspirator, but I mean, the suction on this thing pulls mucus out of kids like no other. And I would dare to say she was born breech with how full of fluid she kind of was. And guys, like, this is a huge improvement, just her sitting up sternal and trying to like move around, because she for a long time just sat there and just kept gasping. I worked on her for probably 20 minutes clearing an airway. I was really worried we're gonna have some neurological issues from birth asphyxiation on fluids. And she seems like she's pretty with it. I took her inside and put her on the heat pad just to make sure she warmed up really fast. Came back from dropping Jill off from school, and she was up and doing her, kind of pushing around and being crazy. So, and you'll notice, like, I've got towels in front of her because the dogs are out with me this morning, and Mo will not pay attention to her kids if the dogs or she sees a cat. Good motherly instincts, but she's completely ignoring her kids when she does that. So I just figured I have to be back and forth. So we're just gonna throw some towels up front to kind of create a privacy barrier for her. And the reason I'm back and forth is because we're separating kids so that we can milk moms later. The demand for milk for my farm this year has been a little bit more than usual, which is okay. However, I can make a buck back on the bucks that I'm putting into these guys is good. So separating for the morning so we can milk in the afternoon. We'll move to 2-a-day milkings when we start to wean, just because they're on mom all night long, and I really want to kind of switch this to where I do this at night, and then I let everybody out on the field all day long. That's really where I want to be with it, but because I still have so many age gaps, it's just really not viable with everybody. So until I figure out like a routine, and when I come in and out of routines, guys, I get super stressed. Routines are my friend. I love my routines, but the moment that I have to break from them, it stresses me out and it puts me in kind of turmoil for a few days until I get with it. So I'm sorry I haven't been filming a lot, but it's just because like we're at a dead run. Like that we're in that time of year now with kids hitting the ground and milking that we're running nonstop. Like I don't sit down until it's time to go to bed, basically. And I need to make more time for this, or more time for editing. One of the two, because we're real far behind. That's right, baby. Find mama. Back in, come on! Come on! Go back in. Everybody made a jailbreak today. Get in. Little girl, go in. Squeak. Oh, and Rex is sitting there being a good boy. Sorry. Oh, Squeaky, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you guarding your girls. You guarding Dolly. You guarding your babies. How you guarding your babies? Hi, Dolly. Hi, Dolly. Hi. It's one of my Good Friday kids. Oh, excuse me, Rex. I'm sorry. That's her brother. Rex! Rex! Hey, mine. No, you've been so good. Hey. No, mine. They're mine. Mine. Leave it. Go. Go on. Get. Leave Dolly. Little Miss Dolly. Yeah, he zeroed in on you, didn't he, buddy? Believe it or not, he's actually had access to kids like the last week. And that's the first time he's done that. So it figures I turned my camera on him to talk about what a good boy he's been, that he just loses his mind for a second, which he's a puppy still, it's gonna happen. But you guys can see I've got a lot of babies behind me. We got Dolly. And there's actually a whole bunch back in there that you can't see, they're just hiding. And then there's a lot out here, outside. A lapse in judgment. Was a lapse in judgment, brother. Doing the numbers the other night, just to see like how many babies we've had so far this year, because I just feel like we've got a lot of babies and we still have about 5 to 6 does to go. And I have 30 babies on the farm right now. That's more than we've ever had. I actually had someone ask, they're like, what do you do with all of them? And a lot of it is, some go off to be milkers for other people. Some go off to be herd sires if they're really, really good and they deserve to be. But the majority of these guys, because I think I have 11 or 12. No, I have more than that. Oh my gosh. I have a lot of boys this year. The doe fairy didn't visit me very often. She may have like sprinkled in one per kidding, but like I'm having quads and I'm having triplets a lot this year. I don't know if it's because I kind of changed my management again this year. Last year I had such a bad time kidding because I didn't copper bolus. It had a really negative effect on my girls. This year I copper bolus and I've kept feed good this year. And I guess instead of maybe absorbing 1 or 2, like they may have, if they hadn't had as good a feed or support when it came to management, I had a lot of triplets and quads this year. So I actually am on the process of getting some of the newest ones on bottles so that I can send those off to new bottle holders. And the reason for that being is just quads are a lot. Quads are a lot on a goat. Triplets are a lot. Twins are perfect. Twins are perfect. We like twins. Triplets on good moms are good. Quads, even on the best moms, can sometimes be a little taxing. So I'm just trying to see if I can get a couple of my bucks on bottles and get them to somebody who wants to bottle feed or bottle raise a baby. This year, because I have so many bucks and because the market is so saturated with goats, there's a good chance that I'm going to build a second pen on the other side of the barn, and it's going to be a weather feed out pen. And then we're gonna feed them out, and then we'll end up putting them in the freezer, because literally we can't support all the goats. And I will not take them to a sale barn, guys. Like, I'm just really sorry. I will not take them to a sale barn. Abuse does not happen in a freezer. Abuse can happen after they leave my hands and go to a sale barn. So, not saying all goats that go to sale barns end up in bad situations. A lot of them do end up at really good homes, but I've seen my fair share of bad stories. I'm just gonna butcher and put them in my freezer. If they don't move by a certain amount of time, when it's time to wean, I'm gonna weather who's here, who still has testicles that doesn't deserve to keep them, and I'm gonna put them in a secondary pen, and I'm gonna go ahead and feed them out like I would a market wether to eat. You guys are why I can't get anything done. And I'll admit, guys, this year with this many kids, I'm actually struggling for the first time to identify who belongs to who. I am so incredibly embarrassed to say that, but like, I've just had so many born on top of one another, except for Dolly. We know Dolly's so sweet and she's so little, and she says, where's my supportive bar, Mom? Because she's a quad. Because she's a quad and she needs a little support. But I have so many that were born in a lot of golds, and some of their patterns are not that far off of one another. But I'm actually really, really struggling to keep track who belongs to who, which usually, because like a lot of them come right back into the field, it's not a huge issue. But there are times where it's like, I kind of need to know who belongs to. Now, this is going to sound so bad. Are you ready for it? I remember who the girls belong to. I remember all of my dolings, and I remember who they belong to, but the bucks. And maybe it's because I've already got it in my head this year that a lot of them might actually go in the freezer. It's really changed. Not that I don't love them or care for them, but it's just like, I just know there's an uncertain answer for where they will end up by the end of this. So it's difficult. Now, like the white one, I know who he belongs to. The buckskin, I know who he belongs to. This really crazy speckledy guy that's running up to me, I know who he belongs to too. But for these golds that are sitting in here, like over here, that all kind of have the same hue and just have a little bit of white speckle here and there and nothing like really definitive, I really struggle. I really, really struggle with who they belong to. So, and that's really not going to be a big deal because a lot of these are going to probably go as wethers or unregistered bucks. There's just, I have a few that I'm going to retain because they're going to be great bucks, and I have some that I think can still be great bucks that aren't going to be kept here, that can go as junior herd sires somewhere else. But for the most part, a lot of these guys are probably going to be unregistered bucks and weathered, which means they're going as pets. They're not going to stay here, and there's a good chance if they don't sell because the market is so saturated that we may be processing them by the end of this kidding season, and that is just a lot for me to handle sometimes. I love my goats so very much, and I know that they can both be pets, but essentially they're livestock. They give us milk and they give us meat and they give me companionship. They keep I keep a lot of my property healthy because they're just a really good part of it. But that's just a really hard thought this year. And I actually know a lot of breeders who usually don't butcher out for meat. That's what they're doing this year because the market is so saturated. Yet all these people come into homesteading and decide they wanted to be goat keepers and they wanted to grow their own food, and which is great if you stick with it. It's just when the Rona hit, everybody decided to take control of their food security, which is great, but here we are 2024, and some of the people are deciding it's a lot of work. And Rona wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe I don't need to have all of these animals. Maybe I don't need to do all of the things that I thought I was going to need to do to survive. And now those animals are now back out on the market, and there is a flood of it. There's a lot, it's very, very saturated. But I know lots of markets go through 4-year cycles as well, including our stock market, where you have bull runs and bullish years, and sometimes it's just bears and bulls. So I know that the same goes for other markets as well. But this year I see a lot of people that are saying if I don't sell them, and if they're like me and they don't want to take them to the sale barn because they don't want to think of what might happen to them there, they're literally just to put them in their freezers. And power to them.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future